What's going on, everybody? Today we are going to be going over the installation process for the WII Les Paul conversion kit. So if you have any other guitar, this video won't apply to you. So this is very specific to the WII guitar only. So we'll just get right into it. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is separate the two halves of the guitar, take the faceplate off. You're going to need a T10 and a PH0 Phillips bit. You could get away with using a bigger size bit too, but the PH0 works the best. You're going to start here. I'm just going to take all the screws out. Make sure you don't lose any of these screws here. There's a lot of them. You got a magnetic container to keep them in, that's the better option, but it's obviously not necessary. So this is where you're going to need your Phillips. Let's go ahead and remove this. Take all of this out of here. Throw all that off to the side. And you're going to take your fret buttons. Throw them on in here. Now you're going to take the whole assembly here, and it just, you don't have to be too careful with it. All of these connections are glued in place, shouldn't really be an issue. Let's get that down there. Usually this part right here, you can see this little tab in there. Just remove that. Take your needle nose pliers and kind of wiggle it around a bit. Just be careful not to break apart other pieces. You really shouldn't be an issue. It should all come off pretty easy. Let's get that cleared out. Toss those pieces in the garbage. And you see now it's got a nice little spot for it to sit in. So for now, move these out of the way. We are going to set this part to the side. Move on to getting this open. Like I said, make sure that your faceplate is off. Let's go ahead and start removing all these screws. After you get all the screws out of the back here, you're going to need to flip it over. And there is 4 Phillips screws in the top half. Need to make sure that you're careful with these little things. One of them fell off under my desk. I'm gonna have to grab that one. Just make sure you don't lose them. If you like to use a strap, obviously they're not necessary for anything other than holding the strap on. But so we are gonna start pretty much just removing everything, cutting all of the wires out. You got to take out these 4 screws. None of the other ones got to come out. Just 2 on the top and the 2 on the bottom that are in line with the little black post. Slide that on out of there. Grab whatever little cutters you're using. Cut this all on out of there. Have to remove these little brackets that hold some of these wires in place. That you can just rip off. Gonna use your Phillips. Remove the 2 screws holding in the start and select. And then just cut this off here. There you go. And that's everything that gets removed. Take that, toss it off to the side somewhere. Now this part is a little more tricky, but not bad. You just have to be really careful when you're taking this apart. Hold your finger over this part and pull it out so the spring don't go flying away. Take that part off of there, get that out. Pop that bad boy out. Now at this point, you should take the top half, slide it on together so the 2 halves are connected. Get your board lined up in there. Get your Phillips screws. Get this board tightened down where it needs to go. And just get your wires nice and tucked in here. Alright, now some of these are different than others. Sometimes it does just fit in there right off the bat. Sometimes it doesn't, but this is what you want to do. You just want to take it and apply a good amount of pressure into it and screw it in at the same time. Got to try and get these threads to go. And if it doesn't work, all you really got to do is take your needle nose pliers, just kind of spread this apart a bit, you know, bend out the outsides a little bit just to make the hole a little bit bigger. Might be easier if you take your needle nose pliers and just make sure you grab on the green part. Try not to crunch the metal too much. That way you can apply just a little bit more pressure, trying to get this thing threaded in here. See, now it's threaded in there. You just, like I said, you got to be careful. You don't want to bend this around too much. Like, this is really what holds all of this whole assembly together. So if you bend this outer metal too much, the whole thing will just fall apart, and it's a nightmare. But as you can see, it wasn't that difficult to get in. You just got to really make the hole slightly bigger and use force while pushing it in and also turning it to thread it into the hole at the same time. So once you got that part done, you're gonna take the little white brackets, put one on that side. So you're gonna put one on this side first, then that side. And take your little spring, get it up in there. Make sure they're both connected. And as you can see, well, actually, you know, we're gonna take this off of here. We're gonna put this on here instead. Just take that off. Put you on there. You just got to be careful when you're doing this. If you let go of it before it's all together, the spring will go flying. You'll probably lose it. Never find it again. It's a lot easier when you put it on here. So the orientation, you need to make sure that this part right here, the little knobby part, you need to make sure that it is this direction. So when you put it in there, lines up nice and easy with the hole and just pops right together. And you can check the function of it, make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to do. which it is. And that's that. That is the whammy bar assembly, and actually we're gonna keep that out of there until the very last thing, just because it likes to get in the way a little bit. So for this part here, this is where you're gonna need your little cutters. You could probably get away with using the needle nose for this as well. Pretty much what we're doing here is we need to make the switches fit. So you got to take this little part right here, the one that's against where the screw hole is. So you see like screw hole, and then there's a little bit of plastic on the inside of here. Now I always recommend wearing some type of safety goggles if you're ever cutting anything brittle plastic like this, because pieces can fly, hit you right in the eye, and that shit ain't fun. Same thing on this side. Try and get these pieces off of here. Now you see how much closer it is already. And we're also going to do the same thing on the other side of this. Let's remove a good portion. That little post here. Same thing here. Get a little piece of that off. And at this point, you should be able to get one of the screw holes completely centered where it needs to go. And this one might be slightly off. Put your screw in, get it in the hole. Just loosen this side up just a touch. Yeah, just break that piece off. Get that in there nice and secure. Make sure it's all working good. All right. And that is pretty much it. Just got to close it up. Make sure all our cords are not covering any screw holes or like even that. We'll move that out of the way just to make sure there's no interference with it at all. Yep. And just like that, we're gonna take our power cable, plug the cable in there. You're going to want to get this going like that. And what I like to do is take your needle nose pliers and yank this thing off of here. Give it some twists. Jiggle it loose. Toss that thing in the garbage. I like to run my cords right through here. Gives it a nice seamless transition right out of the bottom of the guitar. Take your hot glue gun. You're just gonna squirt out a good amount of glue onto here over the cord. Make sure that it is all over the place. Dab your gun to stop it from dripping. And just hold this in place and let it dry. It's gonna take a minute, but got to make sure that it's nice and dry and won't start moving on you. Alright, and now it is hardened enough to where it's not going to move around on you. Still got to be careful because it is still drying. Alright, I ran into a slight problem recording there. I didn't even realize it until after I had finished it. But, so once you have all your connections put together, everything screwed in, everything where it needs to go, you need to start with the top half of the guitar. So put the back of the neck on first. Put all your screws in. Get your screws back in there. Then you're going to put the bottom of this half of the guitar on. So this whole side will be completed and connected to the guitar. And then this goes over everything. Put all your screws in. And then, just like that. Make sure all your buttons are working. If you have issues where you know, you go to push down the fret and say like the green fret is stiff, it doesn't want to depress all the way. What you're going to want to do is you want to take your T10 and just slightly loosen the top screw here, or if it's the lower half of the board, you're going to loosen this screw here. When they're all the way screwed in, like as tight as they can go, if it works fine, you know, you have no issues with any buttons feeling stiff, then you're good to go. But like I said, if any buttons feel stiff, just slightly adjust the tension in these screws here, and it should alleviate the issue. But now that your guitar is ready to go, let's get it up to Clone Hero and test this thing out. Alright, once you get your guitar fully put together, you're going to want to go ahead and plug it into your computer, launch up Clone Hero. As soon as you get in the game, right at the main menu, you're going to hit the space bar. Hit assign controller, hit running on your guitar, click yes. Go ahead and play fine. Test it out.
Hmm.